As the moon cast an eerie glow over the remote lake in New Mexico, my husband's family and I settled in for a night of camping. With only the distant hoot of an owl breaking the silence, we gathered around the crackling campfire, the warmth barely fending off the chill that seemed to seep from the darkness surrounding us. As we roasted marshmallows and swapped ghost stories, a bone-chilling sound pierced the night air, the desperate cries of a child pleading for help. My heart skipped a beat as I exchanged horrified glances with the others in our group. We were all adults. There should have been no children in our midst. Yet, there it was again, the unmistakable voice of a little girl, calling out from the shadows. Instinctively, we joined forces with the neighboring campers, drawn together by fear and confusion. With flashlights in hand, we ventured into the inky blackness, our footsteps muffled by the soft earth beneath us. The cries grew louder, more desperate, leading us deeper into the unknown. Emerging into a clearing, we froze in terror at the sight before us. Standing amidst the swaying grass was a towering figure, its pallid form glowing ghostly white in the dim light. Its slender frame loomed unnaturally tall, a stark contrast against the darkness that enveloped us. Fear gripped us as we approached, our minds racing with disbelief. What could this specter be? A trick of the night? A figment of our collective imagination? But as we drew nearer, the unearthly being began to retreat, its luminous form vanishing into the dense thicket beyond. Throughout the long, harrowing night, the cries of the phantom child echoed relentlessly in our ears, a haunting reminder of the horrors that lurked in the darkness. Sleep eluded us as we huddled together, haunted by the chilling presence that had stalked us through the night. And though dawn eventually broke, casting its feeble light upon the lake, the memory of that spectral encounter would linger with us, a reminder of the otherworldly terrors that lay hidden in the wilderness. In the dimly lit corridors of the residential mental health facility where I began my career as a psychiatric nurse, there lurked a chilling enigma, Marion Duchesne, the elective mute whose silence echoed with unspeakable horrors. Standing at nearly 7 feet tall, Marion's towering presence alone sent shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned staff members. His unnaturally silent demeanor, however, was what truly instilled fear in the hearts of those who dared to venture into his presence. Born from the depths of the Deep South, Marion's past was veiled in shadows, his history a tapestry of mysteries. Once a man of words, he had fallen into an abyss of muteness without any discernible medical cause, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. His abrupt disappearance from the military only added to the mystique surrounding him, as whispers of his demise swirled in the darkness. Then, like a specter emerging from the abyss, Marion reappeared a decade later in a VA hospital emergency room, his voice breaking the eerie silence with a bone-chilling proclamation.
My name is Marion Duchesne, and I've been dead for 10 years.
Those haunting words marked the beginning of an odyssey into madness and terror. Covered in a thick layer of dust, clad in the same clothes he wore on the night of his disappearance, Marion stood as a ghastly testament to the unknown forces that held sway over his existence. Despite attempts to unravel the enigma of Marion Duchesne, his silence remained impenetrable, his presence an unsettling reminder of the thin veil separating the living from the realm of the dead. Medications proved futile against the shadows that consumed him, and even the efforts of occupational therapy faltered in the face of his spectral indifference. On my final day within those foreboding walls, I beheld Marion one last time, his towering figure pacing the desolate parking lot. As he threw his head back in a grotesque mockery of laughter, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had been in the presence of something otherworldly, a tortured soul trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. To this day, the memory of Marion Duchesne haunts me like a malevolent specter, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left buried in the depths of the unknown. Whether he was a man, a ghost, or something far more sinister, I may never know. And perhaps, in the darkness that cloaks his existence, some truths are better left undiscovered.
As the darkness enveloped the lonely stretch of interstate, our car sliced through the night like a solitary vessel navigating a sea of shadows. My mother, sister, and I, cocooned in the illusion of safety within our vehicle, pressed forward into the unknown. But the darkness outside seemed to seep into our very souls, casting an unsettling pall over our journey. With the clock ticking past midnight, the need for gas and a restroom break urged us to seek refuge at the only oasis in a desolate expanse of 200 miles. Pulling into the rest stop, the air grew thick with an ominous weight, as if the night itself held its breath in anticipation. At the gas station, a van packed with teenagers whispered amongst themselves, their unease palpable. Yet, it was the scene unfolding before us that sent shivers down our spines. A small gray car, its presence ominous in the dim glow of the station lights, harbored two motionless figures. These men stood like sentinels of the abyss, their bodies frozen in eerie stillness. While my mother and sister ventured inside, I remained in the car, a silent witness to the unfolding dread. The teenagers' hurried departure spoke volumes, their voices trembling with fear as they fled the scene. And still, those men remained unmoved, their silence more chilling than any whispered threat. As my family returned to the car, a sense of impending doom hung heavy in the air. Slowly, unnaturally, the men turned their gaze upon us, their eyes betraying a darkness that defied comprehension. Deep, empty voids stared back at us, consuming the light around them with an insatiable hunger. With hearts pounding, we fled from that accursed place, the memory of those hollow eyes haunting our every thought. But as we searched for that rest stop on maps, both digital and physical, it was as if it had been swallowed by the very darkness from whence it came. No trace remained, no record of its existence except for the terror etched into our minds. To this day, the memory lingers like a specter, a reminder that some horrors defy explanation and some evils are best left undisturbed in the depths of the night.
In the dead of night, the ancient Subaru rattled its way through the sprawling graveyard, its tired engine echoing the unease in our hearts. With trepidation, we halted our journey and descended a desolate hillside, stumbling upon a murky pond shrouded in shadows. Across the water, a sinister silhouette perched upon a jagged rock, its form cloaked in impenetrable darkness. A chill gripped our souls as we beheld the figure, its presence ominous beneath the dim glow of the moon. A top hat, antiquated and foreboding, crowned its featureless visage. In a foolish display of bravado, we called out, our voices swallowed by the eerie silence. Yet, the figure remained motionless, a silent sentinel in the night. Then, with a suddenness that defied logic, it leapt from its perch, defying the laws of nature as it raced towards us across the water, only to vanish into the murky depths. Terror seized us as we scrambled back to the sanctuary of our car, but our refuge soon turned to a prison of despair. A haunting rhythm echoed from the darkness, each thud a harbinger of impending doom. No human hand could be seen, yet the car bore the brunt of an unseen force. Panic surged as we fumbled for our phones, desperate for a lifeline in the abyss. But to our horror, no signal pierced the suffocating darkness that enveloped us. Time stretched into an eternity as we battled against the oppressive weight of the unknown. At last, the engine roared to life, a beacon of hope in the abyss. With trembling hands, we fled the graveyard's grasp, the echo of our escape drowned out by the pounding of our own hearts. Only beyond the iron gates did salvation await, as the spectral presence relinquished its hold. But the memory of that night, of the unseen terror that lurked within the shadows, would haunt us long after the graveyard faded into the distance. For we knew, with a certainty born of primal fear, that something beyond comprehension had stalked us in the darkness, a malevolent force that defied all reason and sanity.
At the age of 37, I embarked on a journey back to the haunting halls of my high school reunion. Touching down at the nearest airport, I ventured into the desolate heart of the countryside, a landscape marred by neglect and forgotten by time. The road stretched out before me like a winding path through the abyss, flanked by shadows that whispered of secrets long buried. As I navigated the lonely miles, a spectral figure materialized from the darkness, beckoning me to a fateful encounter. It was Jim, or so I believed, a specter from the past cloaked in the guise of familiarity. His face, etched with the passage of time, bore the weight of years gone by. Together, we ventured into the heart of town, but Jim's destination lay beyond the veil of the familiar. With each passing moment, a sense of unease gnawed at my soul, a premonition of horrors yet to unfold. Despite my protests, Jim insisted on a destination shrouded in darkness, a place where the echoes of the living dare not tread. At the edge of town, amidst the decaying remnants of civilization, Jim bid me farewell, vanishing into the night like a wraith swallowed by the shadows. Shaken to my core, I sought solace in the company of old friends, but my words fell upon deaf ears as the truth revealed itself in whispers of disbelief. Jim, they told me, had perished in a tragic accident, his earthly vessel claimed by the unforgiving embrace of death. Yet here he stood before me, a ghostly apparition defying the laws of mortality. My world spun out of control as the weight of reality bore down upon me, threatening to consume my very sanity. Seeking refuge in the solitude of my car, I stumbled upon a relic of the past, a newspaper dated 8 years prior bearing Jim's obituary. The truth, undeniable and chilling, stared back at me from the yellow pages, a reminder of the horrors that lurked within the shadows of the past. To this day, I am haunted by the memory of that night, a harrowing tale of encounters with the otherworldly, a reminder that the boundary between life and death is but a fragile veil easily pierced by the specters that dwell in the darkness. And with that, we have come to the end of our video. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. This is Ben saying, see you next time.